Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have The Real Red Tails. This is a documentary, one episode, 45 minutes from National Geographic, of course, and it's 2024, so it's brand new. It's probably came out in February, around Black History Month, because if you don't know who the Red Tails are, they're the Tuskegee Airmen, originally formed in Alabama during World War II at a time, Alabama isn't exactly the best place you want to be to somehow be treated with any kind of respect about being black. So a lot of this was done, moved up to Michigan, where some flight trials and things were done over the years. And this focuses mainly not just on the history of the pilots, the black airmen of the Tuskegee Project. They specifically focus on Frank Moody, who had, while running tests over the Lake Huron, crashed and died. And while half of this, it's not broken up into pieces, it cuts back and forth. But while talking about the history and everything else that went on with the formation of the Tuskegee Airmen, the Red Tails, it also talks about the recovery, sort of a marine archaeology mission of finding the plane in which Frank Moody crashed in, trying to figure out exactly why it went down, and because it was likely not due to pilot error. The Tuskegee Airmen got a bit of a reputation for being pretty dang good. And at a time when they had to fight in order to be allowed to serve their country. Understand this. I know that sounds very strange today, or maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But it's strange today because back then they were, like in every other way, black men and women were considered inferior to white in every way. They were treated, they were segregated in not even just society, but also in eventually when they were allowed. It took some work, but when they were allowed to serve their country, they were part of segregated regiments and groups and everything else. It was understood by the U.S. military that they were physically, mentally, spiritually inferior in every way. Yeah, we're the good guys in this battle. Yeah, we're fighting fascism, racism, genocide. Yeah. From Nazi Germany. Yeah, we're just fighting all these things, but we got our own version of it at home. In the South, yeah, especially. So what's great about this, and there are many documentaries, and there's a film made by Lucasfilm a number of years ago that delves into the story of the men that fought battles across the sea in Europe, guarding bombers on their bombing runs, which is kind of a job that doesn't have an expectancy beyond the day in many cases. But they were also fighting a battle at home from people who considered them unworthy to give their lives for the world, for the United States and for the world, to serve their country. It baffles me. And while some could be cynical and say, oh, they put them in there because they'd be great cannon fodder, and I'm sure there's some people who preferred them to be such a thing. But also there was a time, it was this same kind of thing to give your life for a country. Yeah, you call in Steve Rogers as a fictional character, but still the idea to give your life for your country was nothing to balk at. This is something that it was an honor to fight for freedom. People weren't going, bone spurs. Oh, my daddy's rich, I can't go. That kind of stuff. None of that stuff. It was, yeah, there were some people who were wealthy enough to weasel out of it one way or another, but most people, even when they were told they were inferior and they couldn't, fought for it. And they got the chance. and they were great at it. Doesn't mean that there weren't plenty who did die, but many survived. And there's at least 2 in this documentary, including this gentleman right here, who talk about their experience and talk about just, even after the war was over, they still went back to segregated groups. But because of their service, because of the things they did, the military integrated well before American schools did. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, oh, we can put men in military, companies together, but don't put them in elementary school together. Yeah. We had a lot of growing up to do. We still do, because there's still a lot of people who carry on the attitudes of their forefathers. Good on them. So the battle still goes on, but this is, while it doesn't get dark or bitter in any way, it is. And this guy's in great spirits. He's funny, and just when he's asked, like, there's a lot of people ask, who was the best pilot? All of them. Well, it depends on who's telling the story. Right now, I am. So that's one of his lines in here. So he and another gentleman speak about their experiences. There's a historian that tells things, and then we follow the crew that goes into the lake and brings up the plane to be cleaned up, to be examined, and in a hangar, but it's a lab in Detroit, to be used as part of the Tuskegee Airmen Museum in Detroit. And so I don't know if it's on display by now or it soon will be. We'll find out, because it's only 2024 when this was released. Maybe it's up there by now. I don't know. But yeah, if you want to check that out, go check out the Tuskegee Airmen Museum. If you want to find out more about these guys and everything that went into their service to our country. So, left, right-handed, right, sorry. Yeah, it's, if you got that bug for archaeology and dredging up history, and also looking at history from those who were there, and the telling of the story that should have never been a struggle, but it was. There you go. Covered on a bunch of different angles. For now, let's pick tomorrow's episode. 170. 170. Come on. Oh, okay. I've been wanting to do this for a while. It's a series. We haven't gotten a series. There's not a whole... By the way, out of all the things we have left on Disney Plus that I have not watched yet, and we're over 1900, 1800. We're over 1800 at this point. Right? No, we're not. We're almost at 1800. I'm losing track here. Things are just flying by. We're at 1790 something. This is a series. And we of all the 4 categories I have, the least that we have left is series. And this is a spin-off series that sadly only lasted 1 season. Maybe it sucks. I have no idea. I'll find out when I watch it. But I held off because it got released around the time I started. Well, it had to only been released after I started this, because I've been doing this since day 1 of Disney Plus. Yeah. So, this is a spin-off of a film series that starred Nicolas Cage. Well, we'll see if it holds up when we watch National Treasure: Edge of History. I'm going to start off by watching 1 episode and see how it goes. And I'll decide when I'm going to stop watching. I usually do 1 episode before I talk about it, but we'll see. If it's good, I'm probably going to I have to watch the whole thing, but we'll find out. Now, I'm making predictions right now. National Treasure: Edge of History is what we're watching next on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.